Welcome to the team call, everyone. So happy to see your faces. For any of you who are on for the first time, welcome to Team Phoenix. This is our little family meeting, our little huddle. We do this twice a month, first and third Tuesdays of the month. The alternate Tuesdays, we will do live power hours. So y'all know the drill now in the chat, right? What's the drill? We share a win. So yeah, in the chat, I would love to hear a win from the week. Really just wanting to encourage us to think about, to be intentional about thinking about our wins, because it's so easy for us to think about our struggles, challenges, what's not going the way we want them to. So yeah, just trying to condition us to be grateful for those awesome things that are going on. So let's hear them in the chats. Let's drop it there. Okay, cool. All right, so we have a guest speaker tonight, but I'll do a couple little announcements, just kind of reminders, because you guys all have access to the same breaking news that I do in my back office. So there's a couple promotions, pretty major promotion I hope everybody's leveraging, and that is the challenge pack deal, $20 off. And that's kind of insane, y'all. I mean, our challenge pack value is already pretty ridiculous. So $20 off, I just can't even, like, it's crazy. So I hope you're all sending like SOSs out, like y'all have to know about this. Like I'm sending emails, I'm sending like a mass email to everybody on my list, just because you have to know about this. Also, if you don't know that there's a Step It Up promotion, I've learned that my iPhone X Face ID does not recognize my face when I'm wearing a hat. I have to like do this. Or actually input my 4-digit PIN. But let me just make sure I get it right. So there's a promotion called the Step It Up promotion that you might want to be aware of. And that is, in order to qualify, you have to have at least one Success Club point in November. But what's the deal? Basically, you get to reserve a step for Transform 20. They can't promise that everybody that orders is going to have access, is going to be able to get one of the steps. So you can reserve your step, read the FAQ, but just know that that's a thing. And you're going to want to do Transform 20. I haven't been permitted to share my results. Like I don't know. I'm just erring on the side of caution because they've been way secretive. But we did just finish the 6-week test group this past weekend. Many of us were invited to do another one with Sean. So this is news to you too. So, I mean, I've mentioned it in the team page, but Sean like threw another surprise out there that he has created some weights workouts to go with this. This was unbeknownst to any of us. He announced this after like the last week of the test group, but they're already filmed, and there's a hybrid calendar that now I have access to. And basically, there's just 2 a week, and I could either plug them in to these two certain workouts or in addition. So that's pretty exciting. I'm going to be doing that. And just so everybody here knows, I was really like, I did this program literally just 20 minutes a day. We had the option. They gave us 3 additional 10-minute workouts. They didn't tell us how to put them in or anything. It was like a recovery workout, best butt, and some ab workout, like 10 minutes. They didn't say like, I guess just whatever you wanted. I didn't do it just because I figured, why not show what this looks like, and legit, like I want to be able to show what could happen if someone really didn't do anything but 20 minutes. And I've lost a couple pounds, and I lost a couple inches, like an inch and a half. And my pictures do show, decent change for somebody on my frame and for it being 6 weeks. So you guys want to be on this program. And even if you're not sure you're going to be in love with it, let me just tell you, the rest of the world is in love with Shaun T. And they just are. I have never seen such fangirling as I've seen in this group. It's kind of disgusting, quite honestly. And I did the Autumn calories test group, and everybody loves Autumn. But no, Shaun T is like the brown nosing is a new level. He's just a legend, and it's going to be low hanging fruit coming in January if you're ready for it. If you're one of the people who is showing up now, you're not going to, you can't just wait till January. This is when people are ready. You've got to be the person now who they can count on. You've got to be the person now who shows up when others aren't. So I hope that you all are. Okay. Anything awesome I'm missing in the chat? I get FOMO when I have to look at the screen. Okay. I guess I'm not missing anything. Y'all, can someone just pop in with your mic if I am missing anything that's important to hear in the chat. But I don't have to talk at you all night. I have a guest speaker who gets to do that. So y'all, I'm really excited to introduce to you our guest speaker tonight. Let me just, I want to, see, look at this. I want to read to you. Do you mind, Kerry, if I read the message that you sent to me last week? Is that okay?
No, of course. Go for
okay.
it.
I don't want to, yeah. So this is kind of what made me feel like I have to have Kerry on the call tonight. So, little side note, and we can just talk about this more a little bit later, but Kerry is my cousin by marriage. We didn't really know each other when we both started coaching. We were friends on Facebook, I think, but like we didn't like we didn't like talk to each other, but just kind of knew each other existed. She lives in Michigan, and she's married to my aunt's son, so my cousin, like my first cousin. But like I never knew her, and so I joined as a coach, and I remember seeing that my cousin was the coach, and I was like, "What, man?" But I didn't really know her, so I didn't like. So anyway. But we've gotten to know each other a little bit more, and we've obviously had lots of conversations. And she sent this message to me last week, and I just thought, I want to hear more. So we got on a call this past week, and I just got to hear more about what's going on in her business, and I was really excited for her to talk to you. So this got me excited. Where is it? Hang tight. I lost it. Okay. Literally just got this message from her on the 30th. I remember you once telling me in a combo that I just needed one coach to run with me and things would start to move forward. I held on to that for a long time with walker and jogger coaches. I've got my runner, and my whole team has really stepped up because of the dynamic shift. So many good things happening on my team that feels like the grit is starting to pay off. The grit to stay is paying off. Just wanted to thank you for a few bits of inspiration you've likely unknowingly planted for me. Thanks for being you. Hope you are doing well. And so we got on a call, and I just got to hear more about what's going on in her business, and it got me. I mean, obviously, I'm just so excited for her. But once I started to hear, what things she was doing and what kind of what was changing, just how she was thinking about her business, I was like, I want you to talk to my team. So I gave her. So this is going to be kind of like a more of an interview format. I have some questions. I'm just going to kind of get her talking. And guys, of course, please, if you know that I like you guys to chime in and ask questions. So more of like a Q&A type tonight. I like that, a little conversational. But first, I would love for Kerry to share with you her story because it's pretty phenomenal. So Kerry, thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited for you. And I'm super grateful that you've offered to be here and share with our team, but we'd love to hear why Beachbody and a little bit more about, your story and what got you here.
Got it. All right. Well, first of all, thank you guys so much. You guys are a team collectively that I have admired from the beginning. Like Megan said, I had no idea Megan was a coach when I signed up to be a coach, and I found my coach randomly on Facebook like 3.5 years ago. I've been a coach for 3.5 years. So it just so happened, I think my mother-in-law said to me, "No, my niece is a coach too." And I was like, "Really? What's her name?" And then I looked her up. So anyway, it kind of went from there. So why Beachbody? Why all the things? How did I end up here? So like I said, started 3.5 years ago, but my journey started prior to that. About 9 years ago, I found myself at pushing 300 pounds. And what was happening on the outside of my body was just a reflection of everything that was happening within me. I was a disaster. I had my first baby when I was 17, and my life kind of just never went anywhere after that because I was committed to this little girl who happens to now be 22 years old.
Baby.
So, I gained all this weight, and I didn't know that girl. I hated that girl in the mirror. And so I had lap band surgery 9-ish years ago. We can never remember the date, but I lost only 40 pounds. And several years, and I was doing things like triathlons, trying to run half marathons. I was really committed to getting rid of the excess weight and like trying to really have my brain follow sort of thing. Well, I was so frustrated. I went back to my left hand surgeon and I said to him, look, I am frustrated. I'm downright pissed that I'm not going anywhere with this and I need your help. And he basically looked at me and said, your lap band's done everything it's going to do for you, Kerry. I'm really sorry, but I think we should take it out and you should have just another surgery. Sound good? And I was like, okay, he's this man I had put my trust into. And so I walked out of that office, and the minute I walked outside, it was like something clicked. And it was, I had planned to schedule another surgery. I was going to have like gastric sleeve or gastric bypass, that sort of thing. Something clicked. And I called my mom on the way home and I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I will not have another surgery. I did this for a reason. I'm not looking for the easy way out. I will do the work. And so I decided then and there that was it. I found my coach that night on Facebook. I started drinking Shakeology because I had heard about it. That was really all I cared about. And luckily that day she said to me, have you ever considered coaching? And I was like, no, I haven't, but I instinctively kind of knew it would put me around a lot of people who would help me stay committed to myself and my journey. And I knew that I wanted to drink Shakeology anyway. So I was like, everybody's sick of me talking about what I'm doing for fitness. So that would give me a platform because they're all like, yeah, Kerry, be quiet, go on, kind of thing. So it gave me a platform to keep talking about it. And the accountability of putting yourself out there saying, I'm going to do this, I don't know, gave me, I know a lot of people shy away from the, putting yourself out there for fear of what people might think. But for me, it was that added layer of accountability that I was not giving up. Like I wanted everybody to hear me say that. So the reason I share most of that though is because I do feel so much like my coaching journey has looked a lot like my weight loss journey. It hasn't been fast, but it's been steady. It's been slow, but it's been very, I feel like I have a really strong foundation in both the fitness, wellness, I call it, space, and my coaching, my team, because I feel like our team is very solid as a foundation. So I don't have all the accolades or anything like that. And I think you guys know that that's not what matters. Your heart in this business is what really, really matters. And that's really what I hope to share with you guys tonight. So if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like you're not sure that you have the grit to get through some of the struggles that we all butt up against, none of us are exempt from any of that. I just really hope I can bring some light to you guys to take away to help you feel excited and motivated and empowered and all those things. So that's kind of how I ended up here.
Awesome. Thanks. Okay. So I love this about you. You're super consistent and steady. You said, maybe your path hasn't been super fast. So what do you feel like has kept you, charging forward even when you didn't see the same momentum? So, Kerry's a part of Janelle Summers' team. So she's obviously around a lot of success. If you don't know who Janelle Summers is, well, you must be brand new. But Janelle is like just extraordinarily successful and has extraordinary success on her team. So, I'm sure the leaderboards are just booming with amazingness and awesomeness. What kept you showing up the way that you have so consistently? And how did you deal with any kind of comparison or expectations of what you had for this?
Okay, so consistency first. I have a really deep why, and that's the first thing I would encourage all of you to have. And I know that you probably hear that a lot. This says my internet connection is unstable, but I don't know why I'm by the router. Anyway, I know every single night before I wake up the next morning why my feet are going to hit the floor. I used to be the mom that stayed in bed, rushed my kids to school. I wasn't a super present person because I was so held back by all the self-limiting beliefs and thoughts and things that were in my way. And so anymore, I think coaching has really given me purpose and drive. And I know that I have something within me that I can't stay in bed because it has to come out anymore. And that deep why of never wanting to go back to the person that I used to be, for me is enough to make my feet hit the floor hard in the morning. With the consistency also is, like I said in the beginning, all the people who count on me now. I have huge challenge groups anymore, and my coaches that I have to set the example. And again, don't shy away from that in your business. Like I think, I have a tendency to watch people like Megan or Janelle or anybody like that and think we don't have to show up like they are because they're doing it they're doing it kind of thing. But instead I took that like, no, I have to do what Megan's doing because I want my team to know that it's possible, first of all. And secondly, I need to lead from the front. I can't ask them to do something if I'm not going to do it too. You can't ask your team to follow you if you're not willing to lead them from a very healthy space. So that's the consistency for me comes from those two things, really finding my tracks. The other thing that I think is worth mentioning here is my very first summit that I went to, I'll never forget. I want to say it was Brittany Leggett spoke on stage about finding your tracks. And if you guys have never considered this, I strongly, strongly suggest that you do it right now. So she said on stage something about if you imagine this, so your children, let's use your children for an example, or maybe a very close friend that if you don't, or someone who means a lot to you, and you pass away and many years have gone by and they have a new friend and they have to share who you were as a person in their conversation with this new friend or new neighbor or something like that, many, many years after your passing. What would you want them to say about you? And I can promise you all the things that I was doing prior to, I can't just say Beachbody because it was a little before Beachbody, but prior to that, were you showing up in your life and being the person that you would want your kids to say, my mom was this, or my mom was that, or my friend was this, my friend was that? Ask yourself that question. Are you showing up in your life every single day that way? And that for me, that was an aha moment. I'm an Oprah lover, so I'll take aha moment every time. It was just that defining moment for me that I was like, I'm never going to set back and allow life to just happen. Like I'm going to be very present and show up. And that same with the business. That's how I consistently show up every single day. It is really that deep that it's important to me. I want my kids to say certain things about me. I think we all do. So don't underestimate the power of that, I guess. Megan, you also asked about how with being on a team that has all the accolades and some really big names and that sort of thing. So, you could easily get into this piece of comparison. You see the leaderboards and the names and these huge, ridiculous Success Club numbers and all those things. And you know what? I just made a decision very early on. I didn't start. My coach was kind of in between Janelle and I. And my coach quit. So then I ended up with Janelle. And I just kind of made the decision that all I was seeing with theirs was that it's possible for me too. Why not you? Why not me? Why not Megan? Why not? You are your biggest asset. Nobody else has something different than you beyond the grit to show up, the desire to keep learning, to evolve, to change, to grow. I can almost guarantee with certainty if you ask any of the leaders in our network what if there was something, it is that consistency to just keep showing up and learning and pushing through the hard things. And I just knew that I needed to look at their numbers and accolades and all those things and to know that just made it possible. I wrote a couple of things down that Megan asked. She sent me these questions earlier, and one, belief was really something for me that has changed this year. I shared with Megan that I'm downstairs in my office and I have a lot of floor down here. So I took papers at the beginning of January, just like a blank, like a piece of paper like this, okay? And I laid them all over the floor in January down here. And I decided I was going to have physical transformations for my challengers. I wasn't doing that before. I wasn't pushing them from my heart to know that their picture on that paper mattered to me. It mattered to me that their kids' lives would be changed because of those transformation pictures, because we all know those transformations physically don't happen typically without the mental piece kind of coming with it too. So I knew that it wasn't just a picture to me, it was an absolute transformation. It didn't have to be 100-pound weight loss like mine, but it needed to be something that it could be words, something like that people were having actual transformations in their lives. And I'm proud to say I have more transformations than I've ever had. And that makes me feel effective. And so I celebrate those little wins, and sure, those absolutely turn into Success Club numbers. And I had more Success Club points than I ever had, but I never fought for a Success Club number. I just fought for those visual transformations. So I think like putting the belief and the vision together really made a huge difference in my business. So it wasn't about watching what someone else was doing, simply just watching them making it happen and knowing through their example that it was possible.
Awesome. I love that so much. So you talked about this, you talked about like creating vision. And you've had some momentum and some like real team culture kind of forming. And this sounds like one of those things that was a part of that was you created a vision for people to latch onto. You had a team, you had some people who were, in your circle, but once you had this one runner, it started to kind of that creates that FOMO, and then people started to hop on board. So can you share like what other things, what did you do specifically? That was a great visual for us, to create this team culture, to create this vision, to create this momentum. What specifically, could you speak to a couple different things, one certain thing? What would you say was responsible for that?
Okay, so I'll try to give you some really tangible things. So launch group was one. So I did a launch group for Lyft. Is that kind of what you're looking for, Megan? Like specifics like that? Okay.
Yeah, whatever you feel like kind of lit your team up and kind of created this like movement, this like, I want to go wherever she's going.
Yeah, okay. So definitely launch groups for Lyft and Tubi. Those were two extremely ridiculously successful. And I posted in there every single day. I went out of my way to do things like I reached out to Allie Dar on Instagram, like sent her a video of myself, and I was like, hey, Allie, my name's Kerry. Any chance I can talk you into coming into my Tubi Mindset group? And she did. Like, don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone and ask for things like that. Show up there every single day so that people who are considering, doing a program with you know that you're going to be the person who's going to show up with them every single day. Most people just need a cheerleader, guys. They just need somebody to really, really believe in them. And I found, like I said earlier, I found that was something Janelle gave to me, was that belief. Just someone saying, look, I believe in you. Don't underestimate the power of belief. It's telling someone, I believe in you, and mean it, because you do. I know you do. If you can do it for yourself, they can do it too. They just need you a lot of times to say that. So that was one. That learn more, I call them learn more groups. I've heard people call them Snoop group, those kinds of things. The other thing that I would say really happened was in our challenge group, 80-day obsession was huge, because it really was that program for a lot of people who were terrified that it was too much. We're kind of going through this again. I think I'm having everybody do shift shop. Doing programs together, I will say, is another thing. Getting my challenge group on the exact same page. I used to do multi-program. I think for me, at least, there was something about doing it together every single day. I'm afraid to even leave that concept now, because it was so effective. Having someone show up at 4 o'clock in the morning, like I see you, I've been getting on your Zoom the last few days, guys, just to kind of watch the culture here and that sort of thing. And I see you guys showing up super early, which is terribly impressive. And I want to commend every single one of you that do that, because I think, Megan, you're setting an incredible example, because I know the power of that in my group. I have a 4 o'clock, she happens to be one of my really good friends. She's my son's principal. If she can get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, she has twin little boys. Gets up, does her work before she goes and pours into those kids every single day. The rest of the people in my group have a really hard time finding an excuse for them not to do it too, kind of thing. So really rewarding those people who are doing the things that other people are afraid to do, rewarding by affirmation, maybe a little card in the mail. I don't know how many of you were at Summit, obviously, but Sean Acor really talked about like sending a little note, like being really specific with your gratitude. That was, kind of one of those little tiny things that the details I really felt like came out of the culture. I feel like I'm not being specific enough to give you guys something, but I do really believe it's in the details. It's in consistently checking back in with them, believing in them. It's not rocket science. It's just, you can't let off the minute you start to, I don't know if you guys know the analogy of pushing a boulder up and over like a mountain. So you're pushing the boulder, and you only get so far, and then we have a tendency to like let it go. I did that so many times, even in my weight loss journey and my business journey, and it gets hard. So you start to back off, and it rolls all the way back down. Now you've got to build that momentum again. And same goes with building your team and that culture. Like, just keep pushing. Eventually, that's, I think, where we are now, is kind of where I'm not saying we won't have to keep doing this by any stretch, but the momentum begins to ride, and then you feel that out. Don't let off the gas. All those little details make a world of difference. One final thing I'll add is if you guys don't have success partners, find one. Like, you can get on your morning Zoom and find a success partner. Those are show up people. I have a couple, and the things, you learn from something different from everybody. I encourage you personally, in my opinion, I think having a couple of success partners for different reasons at different times for different seasons makes a difference. I love like a couple of things from one. I recently have even paired myself with someone who has a huge Instagram following on our team because I wanted to level up. Like, you have to get uncomfortable a bit. Don't be afraid. That's the let off the gas. If you think it's uncomfortable, lean in, y'all. Lean into it. That's where you grow. So I hope that's helpful as far as like some takeaway that helps build that momentum in your team. But those are the things that come for me.
Well, for sure. You mentioned this, you mentioned you have this, you have a runner, you have a coach locking arms with you. And I've said, and if you guys haven't heard me say this before, some of you have, once you find, those coaches who who are ready to lock arms with you, it's so fun. It is so fun when you have, in the beginning, it's kind of scary. It's uncertainty. And you'll see other people might have coaches that are working, and where am I finding these business plan coaches? And all this fear and stuff creeps in. And like, I've sponsored all these coaches, and someone said they wanted to work and they didn't. I was like, once you have someone to like lock arms with, it's amazing. You've just got to get there. You've got to trust the process. And so Kerry mentioned, like, the coach, you mentioned that she joined, what was it? 7 months after she decided to coach? Something like that. Like, it wasn't like she was ready right away. Many of the people who are going to lock arms with you, they're not going to be people that join your team right now and start hustling. I don't know that that's ever actually happened for me. To be honest, in my 5.5 years that somebody joined my team, they said they wanted to do this and they started doing it and they just did it, and they were it's like the discount coach that comes out of the woodwork or somebody who has maybe like a kind of spottier start, and then it's just they light up eventually. I know enough now to trust the process and just to know that this is what the process looks like. And I think the hardest thing is for newer coaches in your beginning stages to do what Kerry was doing, is to keep pushing that boulder. It doesn't look like what we think we want it to look like, or it should, we think it should look like. It looks like patience. It looks like consistency. It looks like painting a picture. And it looks like, Kerry, you stayed so steady and solid that people, when they were ready, they want to lock arms with you. But what often happens with us is we get discouraged, or we don't think it matters. And so the way we show up is inconsistent, and we're kind of hit or miss, and we kind of look more fair weather. But you painted a picture, you created a vision, you had a foundation, and you probably felt like you were talking to a wall a lot of times. I know that's what it feels like oftentimes as a leader, that where you want to go, and you're painting this picture, and you're talking this talk, and you're like, I don't know if anybody's coming along with me, but I'm going, and I'm going to keep going this direction and hope somebody, grabs hold. But she mentioned these people that are like joining her. They weren't just like, she just figured it out one day and knew how to recruit a business building coach, and now she's arrived. This is what this looks like. It looks like patience and consistency, which are such rare qualities just in humans these days because of our instant gratification kind of culture right now. I just think we don't know how to wait. We don't know how to be patient. We're just used to like snapping our fingers and having what we, want. So I think that was very tangible. Something that you said on the call, on our call, that really struck me was, I don't know when you had this kind of realization or whatever, but you mentioned something about sitting at Summit and not think, and seeing people walking the stage and doing the thing and getting the, whatever we get at Summit, recognition.
I'll share.
Yeah, please.
I'll share that. So at Summit, I've been 3 times, and 2 different things that are worth sharing here. So the first year, okay, you're here to just kind of feel it out. Like, what's this about? The second year, I want to bring some coaches with me. I went the second year by myself. I mean, I had friends in the business by then, luckily, but then the third year, I was like, I am not coming back to Summit next year if I'm not bringing coaches with me. Like, I have no business, like, I'm doing this. So it kind of set that vision for myself. I literally walked around Summit visualizing, like, where would my team and I stand for the super workout? Like, silly things like that. I know it sounds so simple and dumb almost, but the vision really mattered. And then I was sitting in, like watching all of the big, I don't know, I'm just going to say like Melly and Mitch are like getting on stage and talking and things like that. I used to sit there and think, I can't wait until I can do that. Like, I have the belief in myself I could make that happen. But you know what? I don't even want that anymore. You know what I want? I want that for my coaches. I have a coach on my team who lost her 4.5-month-old baby to SIDS, okay? And you can imagine, as a parent, the pain that she has gone through. And this business has given her a platform to share his legacy. And I can see now her sharing that with the world. And the really heartfelt truth, authenticity, genuine healing that has happened because of this opportunity and this business, I see that for her now. It doesn't matter for me anymore. If I see that her do that, that means everything to me because it's given her what she needed. And we can't underestimate the change that we can truly make in someone's life. We did a 10K for her son this year, and just watching like the whole team come together just to get outside and honor him. And we all wore shirts that said 10K for Graham, and everybody made a donation. And like that was Beachbody, guys. Like, sorry, but it was all our community. She had some people that she brought into from work and things like that, but that power that's what people need in their lives. Like Megan was saying, in this day and age, we're missing that. We're missing the boat on all those things that matters to me more than any qualification or rank or something like that. Like that, those are the ways I think that culture can really develop into a place that is really quite powerful. So yeah, that's kind of what you were talking about, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's when somebody can sit back and not just like want for themselves, but to want for others and to be driven by that. I think that's where the magic is. I think we can achieve certain levels of success with our own like ambition for ourselves. I think that, there is there's a certain distance you can go with your own desires, achievements, chasing whatever metrics or recognition or your whatever. But that gets really hollow. And I think even those people who do achieve great success, I think that doesn't last. I don't think it's lasting. I think people burn out because I think people realize eventually is those things don't make you happy. That's not truly what fulfills people ultimately. And when you can truly have a why that is legitimately driving you, that is service oriented and purpose oriented, and you're asking, I mean, this is my personal opinion. I can't speak to many other people. But that's how I was like, oh my gosh, Kerry is totally Team Phoenix. Like she's so what I'm about. And it just made, I was like almost in tears listening to her talk about like how she's so purpose driven. And I think that is the difference. The difference is there's a purpose. And I think that's what keeps people pushing through the hard times, to find that rhythm, that momentum, their place in this business where they feel ultimately fulfilled, is when there's so much more to it than being validated. Then, I mean, you're talking about reaching out to these people that could totally reject you and turn you down. But you're like, whatever, it's not about me. Like, that's huge. And I think so many of us, myself included, we can get really stuck because we're so concerned about not being validated. But when you have a purpose that's so much bigger than that, like those things don't matter anymore. It's very self-absorbed when we don't make those connections, when we don't send out those invites, when we don't do our vital behaviors, because it's not gonna, they're not gonna say yes, they're gonna say no, they're gonna ignore me. That's truly a self-absorption, and I hope that doesn't come across as like insulting to anybody. I will take that on myself as well. It's about me when I let those things hold me back from moving forward. That's
So true.
all about me. That's all
It's
about
selfish.
Megan. Megan's concerned with how she's going to appear, how you're going to perceive her. But when I know that I have a gift that can change lives, and I have a major why behind it, and like, you are so grounded in your purpose. And like your conversation about comparison, so many people, I get the messages all the time. Well, it's not, I know that I'm not your rock star. Like, who says I have a certain expectation of what, you should be in this business? Like, I want you to be the best version of you. And so I love that you can, look to these people on your team who are having, whatever epic success, and be able to celebrate them, be like, you go, girl. Thanks for showing me that this is possible. Thanks for showing me that people still want what we have. Awesome. I'm so glad to know that there are people out here going to buy this stuff, because I'm in this for the long haul. Like, that's what I guess, have I heard that story, that little, like, what is it, that parable about the manager that sends his shoe salesman out to the country that doesn't have the over shoes. And the one calls back and he says, or they call him, checks in on him, and one's like, oh, this is miserable. This was awful. You wasted our, because they don't wear shoes. And then they call the other guy, and he's like, boss, it's amazing. Amazing opportunity here. Nobody wears shoes. And so it's like there's a very different perspective. And, you're operating from this abundance mindset. And that's why you're having, such an impact. And your team they want to be a part of that positivity. They want to be a part of, like, who doesn't want to join a leader who is excited about this and has purpose? So sorry, I get a little
passionate there. I love it. It's so good. I want to tell you, I was in South Beach. I got to go on Janelle's team retreat this year, and we went to South Beach, and we were in the pool on the last day. We all got to bring a guest, and one of our girls brought a guest that was, I'm not kidding, you could just look at her and think, oh my gosh, this girl would make a fantastic coach, right? So the last day we were in the pool, and one of the girls was like, I have such an abundance mindset of all the things, all the ways we can help people, and all, the abundance piece that you're talking about. And we got looking at this one girl, and I said to the girl who brought her, I looked over and I said, why would you this is a girl who just been on a all expenses paid retreat. And I said, why would you take this from her? And she stopped dead in her tracks. She hadn't offered her the opportunity, because I think we forget. It's just a good example of, we forget that you have something someone may very well need. And do not assume. I try always very hard. Do not assume they don't. I used to do that so often. Do not assume they don't. Do not assume they don't. I have to kind of murder those thoughts in my mind every day. Like, I don't get to make that assumption. I just get to offer it. I get to be really passionate about it. I get to love what we do. And if it's for you, cool. If not, I'm moving on to the next person. Like, there's an abundance of people who need what you guys have to offer. So don't underestimate it.
Love it.
I love the abundance word, Megan, though. So.
Does anybody have any, questions or anything they want to ask Kerry? I'll ask you this, Kerry. Was it at the beginning of your business, were you already pretty outgoing? Was it easy for you to talk to people? Did you have struggles with those initial conversations sharing the business, or what do you like? Or maybe here's a better question. Do you have any, so that you're talking, I think a lot of what you're sharing, I think, is really valuable for coaches maybe who've maybe been around for a while, and it's encouraging to see somebody who has seen success after being in the business for a little time. But those coaches who are new, do you have what would be your best advice for those coaches who, they're just getting started in the past few months?
Find the joy. That's the first thing that comes to mind for me for a new coach. If you're not having fun with this, you're not doing it right. Like I love doing this. And still I'm somebody who gets bored, you guys. Like I'm like ADD city over here. Like I need lots of things, and I don't want anybody to tell me what to do. So find the joy in the journey and make sure you're putting yourself first. Like I think that's the best advice for a new coach. Complete a program from start to finish. If you haven't done that yet, do it. Like it will change your life, start to finish, all in. Those two things, and find the joy in it. Share what you can every single day from you. Don't try to sell it, just share it. Like, that's the best place you can start, and just finish. That's my best advice. Finish a program. Keep it simple. Vital behaviors.
I'll ask you this last question because I didn't mention it. Kerry has a photography business, so like she's not like doing this full time. So there's a lot of coaches here who work. This is not their full time gig. So do you have any advice for coaches who do work another job and this is something that you're fitting in? Like, do you have how do you make that work? How do you stop from like giving yourself the excuse that, oh, I have a business that brings income and I don't have to do this? Or how do you fit it? How do you fit it in? Anything that might help those coaches who are in that position?
Yeah, I thought a lot about this question. So I have owned my photography business for 12 years. And just so you guys know, my goal is I don't want to do photography anymore. I love it. It has very much been a work of my heart, but it's kind of seen its time. Like, I'm ready to move on, and I really want to do this full time, like all the time, and not have to leave my family to go shoot often. I've been able to give up weddings, so that was a good thing, but I'm gone a lot. And a lot of times it's my husband and I passing like 2 shifts in the night, especially in the fall season, because I go out to shoot when he walks in the door from work. So I grabbed this. I went upstairs and grabbed it just before the call because I'm such a visual person, but I thought this might help some of you that work, a full-time job and are trying to find where you're going to fit coaching in. It can be done, pockets of time. I'm sure you guys have heard that if you haven't, just little pockets of time, you can get a lot done in 10 minutes if you really keep your focus. But this is like my list of priorities. You can see how beat up it is because I keep it with me. And this is how I literally break it down sometimes. So number one, before everything, is my spiritual and mental wellness. Like, if I'm not good with God and if I'm not okay in my head, I've struggled with depression, anxiety, like a lot of really struggles in my head. So that for me comes before anything. So that's my number one. My family is number 2. Beachbody now is 3. Photography is 4. So that's literally how I evaluate my day, because photography and Beachbody kind of compete with each other. But I have to prioritize. If I'm not okay first, if I'm not taking care of myself first and getting those workouts in and drinking my Shakeology and taking care of myself and eating well and doing all those things, then if that's good, okay, I can move on to my family. Is my family good? Is everybody going where they need to be? Do they have from me what they need? And then I can take care of Beachbody, and then I can take care of photography. And that's literally how I break it down. It can be done. You may have to get up earlier. You may not be able to watch Netflix for a while. Like, I literally gave up watching TV, and occasionally I'll DVR something. I watch football with my husband for a little bit on Saturday, and that's it. Like, I don't watch TV. I don't have time for it. And I'm not saying that those things you should be able to turn off once in a while, but consider where your priorities are and what you want first. So that's my best advice to somebody, is really get your priorities in line. And I'll gladly send this to Megan if it would be helpful for any of you. So like, you do your 5 priorities and then you list out 3 like actionable items and then like your 12-month goals. This helped me so much when I was trying to figure out the balance between the two, the job and coaching.
Cool. Yeah, definitely share. But what's your team's name, Kerry?
UVU crew, you versus you and nobody else.
UVU crew. Well, I invite the UVU crew to partner with us on our morning Zoom. Like, I'd love to see that Zoom blow up. So I love seeing your face there. And that's actually I have a reminder on my phone to tell me to do my nightly planning my day for the next day. My gratitude and planning my day. I have reminders for my morning to do all those things that you mentioned. So anyway, thank you so much. Oh, Molly has a question real quick before I sign off. Did you prioritize photography before coaching, before when you were making more with it?
Where I had to, because I have been doing it for so long. There is some momentum built from there. I'm not really building that business, but everything is kind of like, I have contracts with people. Like, I had set myself up where they kind of still come and people know me, kind of thing. So the momentum of that business, I just continue to ride that. So the priorities are different. Things like editing sometimes have to be done before I can do a power hour, if that makes sense. I have to get my photos edited and into an online gallery. I have to get orders out, those kinds of things. So yes, but it's really easy to work coaching and really tough sometimes to do photography. Like it takes a discipline to get them both done. My photography income though still outweighs my coaching, but they're getting very, very close. So that's my goal. I just want them to flip.
That's exciting.
Hope that answers your question.
Yeah, well, I think, we'll be cheering you on for sure as you continue to ride the wave that your team is on. And well, we appreciate your time tonight. And I thought that, what you had to share inspires me. And it inspires me. I mean, I get excited to see somebody doing this business with purpose and seeing success. I guess in some ways it just kind of like validates the way I feel about this. Just knowing like that's what happens when you trust the process, when you're consistent, when you lay a solid foundation, when you're patient, and consistent, and you paint this picture, and it's exciting to see you succeed. So good stuff. I look forward to staying in touch with you. And
same. Thank you for always being a source of inspiration for me, for leading from the front. And I said this to you the other day, but in front of your team, like I have mad respect for you, Megan, and I'm grateful for the person that you are just because you're you, but all the little things you do matter to me, and I'm not even on your team. So you guys, like, you're very lucky. Appreciate what you have. It's awesome. You guys are incredible.
Thank you, Kerry. But thank you so much. That means a lot. But what those words mean to me is when I think about all the people here on this call, like, I don't even know that you're paying attention to what I'm doing. We don't talk that much. So just to know that, like, I don't even know that you're paying that much attention. Like, that means so many people have eyes on us that we don't realize. Mm-hmm. I think about that every day. Like, you might think, what does it matter if I don't show up today? It matters. You're shorting somebody. And I don't know. I'm a purpose-driven coach, and I love to hear you talk. So we'll stay in touch, Kerry. Thank you so much again.
Can I take your picture, guys, for Insta stories? Yes, can I take a picture? Please. Okay, everybody smile. By the way, I have to say, so T. Kaiser, I'm not sure who that was, but at the beginning, her dog was on there, and it was hysterical. Like, the little dog was, like, running around. I did an Insta story because I was cracking up at her dog. Yeah, look at her little dog.
Hang on, I don't see it. Oh, I guess because I have the speaker view on. Oh, so cute.
Yeah, it was cute. Anyway, I got a kick out of it. All right, guys, so good to see you all. Have a good evening. Thank you for allowing me to do this. Bye.
Bye, Kerry.